Support for Elwood City Limits is made possible by Facebook,
Facebook.com/Elwood City Limits,
Twitter,
@ECL Podcast,
email,
ElwoodCityLimits@gmail.com,
and by subscribing on iTunes and following us on SoundCloud. Thank you.
and my free time.
Listen up, people. Let me tell you a tale. The name's Elwood City Podcasts, and we're here to say that we're gonna
Talk about Arthur today. Listen up, sports fans. I know we're all excited. Football season has come to an end. What a season. What a season. And hey, who are you going to see in the Super Bowl? Could it be the Green Bay Packers or the New England Patriots? I just don't know. And on that note, we have two very athletically charged episodes of Arthur.
look at you taking over the intro there. That was very good. I should let you do the intro one of these days. You clearly have more off the dome than I have working with. Yes, that's right. No, you haven't stumbled into one of the many, I'm sure, football podcasts out there, because I didn't even know it was Super Bowl time coming up. No, it's Elwood City Limits, the episodic Arthur podcast detailing the PBS kids show Arthur, one episode at a time. My name's Will Young, and of course my much more culturally astute counterpart at the other end of the table is my friend Lucas Mancini. Hey, Lucas.
How are you doing?
Not bad. I mean, I'm a little jealous of your improv ability. Mine's still a little lacking at parts. As if you listen to any of the intros to this podcast, you can tell that not the most inspiring part of the whole deal. The whole package.
I like your intros. Like I said last time I came up with an intro, I literally have all day at work to think them.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that's rumbling around in my head is like, what am I going to talk about at the start of the podcast?
I never think about it. That's the key.
And you know those cheeseheads were blowing up my Facebook feed, so...
Were they really?
No. I just wanted to talk about how the Green Bay Packers fans call themselves cheeseheads.
You just want to say cheeseheads.
I just want to talk about how those Green Bay Packers fans wear that cheese on their head.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, Lucas, but I'm a big time cheesehead.
You're a big time cheesehead?
Oh, cheddar, mozzarella.
Man, well, I expect you.
Marble, brie,
blue,
nah,
Gouda,
yeah, Baby Bell.
You know what?
Kraft singles.
When you put it into those terms, I guess I'm a big cheesehead too.
Yeah.
Take that, Tom Brady.
Yeah, there's a little cheese in all of us.
Arthur. What's new with our favorite aardvark?
What's the deal with Arthur? Well, before we get to the episodes in question, of course, what I always say is if you want to follow along with this podcast, I would encourage you to do so. And the best way to do that is to watch the episodes and then to listen to our kind of commentary over it, because that's what we do about a day or so before we record the podcast. I've been made aware this week that there is a new way to watch Arthur.
What?
Now, again, I must say that this is primarily for any U.S. listeners. But PBS Kids now have their own 24/7 streaming service. PBS Kids now has its own it's a channel and a streaming service.
Is it $9.99?
No, I think it's free. At least for right now. I mean, you would have to pay for the cable channel, obviously, but it's all PBS Kids all the time, so that at night it's not like Masterpiece Theater or new episode of Sherlock or whatever. So I checked it out. I can't remember the name of it. I believe it might be something along the lines of PBS Kids 24/7. But unfortunately, that is for U.S. people only. So, unfortunately, there is still no legal way to watch Arthur in Canada. So, of course, you have to kind of find your own means with the wonderful technology that's at your fingertips, and I'm sure
you didn't hear it from us.
No, but PBS Kids 24/7, U.S. listeners, definitely check it out. They should have a lot of episodes of Arthur on there. I was not able to check and see which ones, but maybe someday. Yes, Lucas, as your incredibly timely and apt introduction says, it is the time of the year where sports are decided, and this one is decidedly sports. because the episodes we have at hand today are DW rides again, and Arthur makes the team. So before you listen to this episode, make sure you familiarize yourself with those episodes of television and join us on our ride. Speaking of ride, that's what DW is doing. DW riding again.
Dang. She's going to take us for a ride.
Oh, I thought that was going to lead into like a song lyric. I can never tell when something you say is going to lead into like a rap lyric.
DW, do you want to go take a ride with me? Smoke some L's in the
Go on.
Why do I live this way?
Hey, must be the money. That was the most limp rap recital I've ever heard. We'll have to try and step it up.
You haven't heard the Property Brothers perform "My House"?
No, I haven't.
Of the Flow Rider song. Don't look it up. I think I can't hear those frequencies anymore. It literally burned the flesh inside my ears.
Uh-oh. Okay, so DW rides again. So our first of these is, once again, Arthur addressing the audience, as he's wont to do in the cold open. He says, do your little brothers and sisters have to do everything that you do? And so, Lucas, I pose the question because you have a little sister. Did your little sister have to do everything that you do?
Not really, no. We are very different people. We lead very different lives.
Even as kids, though?
As kids, I mean, she'd do the thing where it's like monkey see, monkey do. She says what I say. But, like, she always had she's got way more hobbies than I do. She learned the drums as a kid. She did gymnastics, as we discussed in a previous episode. So I didn't really experience this issue. Though, except for sometimes DW just kind of wants Arthur's attention, and that's a lot more truer to my life. She wasn't necessarily trying to be involved with my hobbies, but she did want my attention from time to time.
What's the age difference between you
4 years.
Ah, so the same as Arthur and DW then. When you were 8, she was 4.
Huh. What a coincidence. I never really considered that, but that's true.
Lucky you. Yeah, no, this should really relate to you. So in the 3rd grade, did you have a pesky little sister with a pink dress who talked way better than you?
She definitely probably talked better than me, but I don't remember much about the
By virtue of the fact that she probably spoke better than you. And me at age 20. That's interesting. You do have the same age gap between you and your sister. My sister and I, my older sister and I, are 7 years apart, so it's a little bit different. She would definitely. I really wish I could remember more clearly. I bet she would have clearer memories of me as the little brother. I'm sure there would be definitely times I wanted to hang out with her. I know I coveted her Game Boy, her classic Game Boy.
Yeah, gotta play that Tetris. Gotta play that Pokemon Yellow.
Not even. No, we're talking Super Mario Land and Donkey Kong.
Oh, Super Mario Land, so wild. The turtles explode. The Koopas explode.
I know. The first time that happened, I was completely hoodwinked. So DW is kind of shown doing stuff that Arthur does in sort of the similar manner that Lucas talked about with his sister, because she's, of course, the younger sibling, wants to get Arthur's attention, as we've seen in previous episodes. They're playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey, and she accidentally pins the tail on Arthur at his birthday.
Which is a weird example, because I don't necessarily think that's an age thing. Like, I don't think as you get older, you get better at pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah, no, I played it when I was around DW's age, and that was really it. So, really, the younger you are, the better it is. And then them doing a free throw competition in basketball, DW totally smoking him.
Yeah, which is another bad example because she ended up being better than him at basketball. Like, I would think if he was going to talk about like little kids trying to do things but they really can't. I don't know. I can't think of an example. It's a hard thing to talk about.
No, but he's talking about just simply doing what you do, not necessarily doing better or worse.
I see. So he just doesn't want her around, especially in the case where she completely destroys him from the three throw line.
The three throw line. And then finally, now she's learning how to bike ride, apparently parroting Arthur's own bike riding. And then she doesn't know how to stop.
So there's a lot of that. Get used to that, dear listeners. Will going, I can't stop.
Now, she doesn't do that a whole lot, but once we get into the second episode, I'll talk about saying things over and over. Boy, will I. So the episode starts and we're talking about the Bike-a-thon. That's the main kind of tie through of this story. So Arthur putting up a poster with the Bike-a-thon. Do you remember this? Or like when you put up a poster nowadays, you have those people for a local concert who are kind of going downtown. They staple gun onto like poles and trees and all that sort of stuff, or maybe they tape. But no, Arthur has like a bucket of like cement or whatever. It's not some.
It's like industrial glue.
Yeah, and it's like he's got like a wiper blade, and he really has to it's something that
I didn't pick up on this at all.
But you realize it's just we don't do that anymore. It must be like so environmentally unfriendly compared to just stapling it a couple times, and must be stapling must be cheaper and quicker.
Well, it's also curious because stapling's it's against a lot of city bylaws. Like if someone catches you, it's one of those things where it's like keeping your liquor in a paper bag. Mm-hmm. It's one of those law gray areas where you're technically not supposed to staple that stuff to the telephone poles, but people still do.
Well, it's why in all those hip movies and commercials you see people with hoods like as part of street teams and like stapling, and then they got to run away or skateboard away because they got to announce the battle of the bands at the skate park.
Man, it sounds like they're going to make a sequel to Non-Stop, that Joseph Gordon-Levitt bike movie, but instead he's like stapling posters.
Premium Rush?
Premium Rush. Non-Stop, Premium Rush. You can understand why I did not quite remember the name of the Joseph Gordon-Levitt bike movie.
Yeah, no, it's not like Premium Rush. It's like I just saw it on Netflix the other day. So it's like,
God, that movie's bad.
I just saw the poster.
Another look into Mr. Haney's personal life. Outside of his principal duties, it looks like he either takes a very prominent hosting job, or he organized the Bike-a-thon himself, because he's on the poster and he's the one that gets the whole thing kicking off later on in the episode.
He's a bike model. They used his public persona because they knew that he is the most recognized man in Elwood City.
I guess between the action figures and the. He also wears his leisure wear, though. We get shorts, Mr. Haney, as opposed to suit Mr. Haney.
His athletic wear.
His athletic wear, exactly.
His husky man athletic wear that I bust out quite a bit on the regular. So Arthur goes to the Tibble's place, talking with Mrs. Tibble, asking if she can sponsor him for the Bike-a-thon. A little bit of clunky exposition here of just, would you sponsor me for the Bike-a-thon? The Bike-a-thon, where everybody pays $1 for each mile you ride? Yeah, it's for my school. And I'm like, thanks, TV writing. Appreciate it. It's like, the Bike-a-thon? You mean the description of the Bike-a-thon? Like, all right. And then Arthur kind of gets in a little bit of hijinks with the Tibbles. The Tibble twins, they tie his shoes together, and they say they're going to be in the Bike-a-thon.
Tibble's house would not stand up to code. The Tibble twins emerge from under the floorboards.
Floorboards are their porch, so they're just kind of crawling around in there. Of course, they're always crawling around somewhere, those Tibble twins. So Arthur is going to get ready for a ride with Francine and Buster, and DW wants to go with them, except they're on two-wheelers, and she's on a tricycle, and just wouldn't be able to keep up, which Arthur tells her as much. As they get ready to go, I noted that Francine asks, did your mom let you go on the Bike-a-thon, Buster? And he says, yeah, but I have to use a cellular phone and call her every half mile.
I don't know what's more ridiculous, the fact that someone said the words cellular phone, or the fact that he would have to call her every half mile. That's like, I'm trying to think. We're here in Canada, so we use the metric system, so I don't quite remember what a mile is. Is it like 4 kilometers? It's like every 20 minutes or something, he'd have to call his mom while riding a bike. That seems almost more dangerous, unless she expects him to stop each call.
No, it's completely silly. And man, the silliness with Buster's mom does not stop here. DW does try and keep up with them at first, just because she kind of wants to hang out with Arthur. But, of course, their bicycles are much more powerful than a tricycle. They go uphill with ease, and DW kind of pedals her way up there like she really has to go for it. And then right at the top of the hill, she slides all the way back down and back to the house. Like, it looks like she went a mile herself.
Well, I love the framing of this shot, too, because it's the hill is so cartoonishly curved. It's almost like the curvature of the earth or something. Like if you've ever played Animal Crossing, one of the Animal Crossing DS games, how you're walking over sort of a rounded surface. That's how steep this hill is. And so you see the whole thing play out where DW sort of falls backwards from this profile view, and it's very funny.
Yeah, she goes a long way, and then she manages to turn while sliding backward, which is an expert tricycle move, and somehow manages to not die. You know what I really like? So I've kind of learned from an early age that I don't have the balance for riding a bicycle, so I don't ride a bike, and also due to my larger carriage, bike seats are no fun to sit on. Mm-hmm. Same thing with stools. Mm-hmm. So just the way I'm built. But you know what I would really like is one of those adult tricycles.
Okay.
You ever see one of those huge ones?
Yeah. Where those guys are like sitting back in the chair?
Kind of. There are adults. Yeah, pretty much.
They're like athletic tricycles, though, right? Like, maybe we're thinking of different things. I think I'm thinking of that pedal bike where the guy is like sitting way back, so he's almost lying down. I see those on the street sometimes.
No, not
you might
yet.
be thinking of
not
just
exactly
a big old tricycle.
It is. It's a huge tricycle, and I rode one time, and it was a lot of fun. I wish I had one of those. Do you bike ride?
I used to a lot more. Ever since I got my driver's license, I don't do it nearly as much. But I was late. I got my driver's license pretty late comparatively. I got it when I was 20 or 19 or something. So up until that point, my main mode of transportation besides taking the bus was riding my bike. And so I used to ride my bike all the time.
I got mine when I was 22 or 23, my driver's license. So before then, I would either just walk or take the bus.
Old Shoelace Express.
That's right. So DW has a fantasy where she's got her the two-wheeler of her dreams, and of course it's pink. It's got tassels on it. She's got a gold nameplate right under the seat. It's pretty kicking.
Well, it also kicking literally because it makes engine noises.
Yeah, no, it's
which doesn't make any sense.
She's got the fastest Pinto on the block. It's awesome. So she rides it, and she's got a helmet with the Captain America wings on it.
Yeah.
So she's
for aerodynamics.
Yes, of course. And DW is going so fast that she makes everybody else spin in a cartoon circle.
Right, she drives past a horse, and then she drives past
Formula One cars.
Yeah, a Arthur-fied version of Michael Schumacher, because he's got this vague European accent.
Wow,
and it's the same...
what kind of bike is that?
Yeah, you could do a pretty good Bas Rutten impression, but
maybe
it's his car too. So I think. And I was thinking about the time period, who would have been the most famous Formula One racer at the time. So I'm almost certain that was an Arthur-fied Michael Schumacher, which is really funny.
For fans of European accents, ask me about my Ilya Brizgalov accent. For everybody who knows about hockey, the Tibble twins catch her in her fantasy, and she's a little embarrassed because she's just going vroom 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 out loud in her own driveway. So the Tibble twins have their new bikes, and they have these horror themed horns. Basically, they have these two little these boxes with these animals that pop out and make a noise. So Lucas, which one would you get, the bat or the Puma?
Gosh, I would really not want either. It's so gaudy and
well,
I feel like you'd have to be a bully in a kids show to have one of those. Either that or Mona the Vampire.
When Mona the Vampire, my God. When I was 6 years old, when I was 7 years old, I thought those were pretty cool.
I don't think I've ever seen one in real life.
But you'd have to be. You really have to be. But but bat or Puma, for real?
Bat or Puma?
Yeah.
Probably bat. Probably helps with, again, aerodynamics more.
Well, then I'll gladly take the Puma. I think the Puma is way cool. So that's their thing. They make fun of her because she's not riding a two-wheeler, which sets the events in motion.
Is this where they have their sick burn? I wrote down exactly what they said for their sick burn.
It's called a bike-a-thon, not a trike-a-thon.
That's true, Tibbles. The sky is also blue. I appreciate that, but yeah.
The sky is blue, not schmoo.
Exactly. That's the level of play on words we're working with.
Well, it's the Tibble twins.
That's
true. They're not known for their witty repartee.
Exactly.
Go to the Reed family dinner, and I just kind of like this to start off with. Like, you see baby Kate, she's putting like her whole face in whatever her dinner is, and mom just has a throwaway line of just, use your spoon, dear. Like, she's a baby.
That's true. She does not know.
It was fun. It was funny, though. I did just like, use your spoon, dear. Like, just tired at the end of the day. So DW is clearly sucking up as much as possible. Just like, Father, may I serve you potatoes? Kind of like Francine was doing a couple episodes ago when she was Meek Mill for a week.
Yeah, the kind of cartoonish chivalry where it's like manners taken to the extreme, where especially coming out of these kids, like the younger they are, the funnier it is.
Yeah.
Like she's just like, Father, may I hand you the potatoes? My compliments to the chef, which is of course her dad.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that her dad takes it totally at face value. He's like, well, she's finally turning around. How nice of you, honey. And then mom is immediately, okay, DW, what do you want?
She sees right through it.
And exactly. And so DW's wish is that she wants a two-wheeler. Because if Arthur can do it, how hard can it be? You know what's crazy? She gets one.
Well, I thought this was interesting because I thought back to when I learned to ride a two-wheeler when I was a little kid, and I didn't want to. Like, maybe it's because I'm less susceptible to like the societal pressures or like the peer pressure of, I want to do what all the other kids were doing. But when I had training wheels on, my parents had to bribe me to take them off.
Right.
Like they would be like, all right, Lucas, you're going to practice your bike with just two wheels, and we're going to go to the corner store. We'll buy you a pack of Pokemon cards. But you got to do this. You got to do this two-wheel. Yeah, it was a pretty sweet deal, right?
That is a sweet deal.
But thinking back, like the fact that she had to beg them to let her, it's kind of weird. It was opposite for me.
Yeah, no, and my dad kind of forced me to try and ride a bike, and like took me out once, did nothing doing, and then we were just like, all right, forget it. We're never doing this again.
Me and you were not exactly daredevils. Huh?
No, really not. I mean, so DW is kind of taking a look at the bikes in the store. There's one that's too flashy. It's got like a blinking light on the back of it in the shape of a heart. There's one that's too angry, which it just has like a monster face on the front of it. One that's too girly. I think that one was just like excessively like disgustingly pink or whatever. There was one that was
I love this.
that almost looked the same thing as like an adult tricycle, kind of like, because it was really like
it was like low to the ground.
It was really low to the ground and like way too big and like almost looked like an experimental bike. And she said that'll last about an hour before it breaks. It was like an oddly mature, like when you're a kid, you don't think about that kind of stuff. But DW is just like, this isn't going to give us the value that we want. And I'm like, very, very mature, DW.
Well, the front wheel is like way smaller than the back wheel. And also the handlebars are way high up, but the seat is way low. It looks like those bikes they had in like the early 2000s in like a Sum 41 video or something. But also the funniest part about all this is that
Dave Mira sponsored bike.
After DW dismisses it, like some side extra kid just comes by and he's like, ooh.
Just some little kid. Wow. And so it's like, DW is clearly smarter than the average child. She knows the value of $1. And then she finally sees the one that she wants, and it's pretty much perfect. It's the right amount of pink and what have you. And then she kind of looks it over, and then they bring it home, and she puts her own nameplate on the back. She just makes one out of paper and marker, sticks it on there. Now it's perfect. So DW needs riding lessons, of course, and she goes to ask her dad, who I loved this. He can't take her for a riding lesson because he's finishing a lasagna Taj Mahal for the Elwood City Culture Club.
Which I associate Arthur's dad with more baked goods. This is the first kind of, I mean, I guess he does do like catering for parties and stuff, so he'd make those mini sandwiches.
Yeah.
But this seems a little bit out of his wheelhouse.
You take a look at it, and, lasagna, of course, is a little bit more of a malleable dinner. It's not exactly meant to be built. So this one, it almost looks like he would have had to bake it to a certain degree in order to sculpt it into a Taj Mahal. I'd eat a lasagna Taj Mahal, I'll tell you that.
We got to get...
But then again, how could you? It's like a great piece of art.
We got to get Arthur's dad his own reality show.
Yes.
And at the end of the episode, they go, "Are we going to be able to fit it on the truck?" Commercial break. Yes, we were.
Is that his catchphrase?
Every episode. No, it's not his catchphrase. His catchphrase is, "You can't arrest me, I'm the cake boss." But every episode of Cake Boss, the main piece of drama, there's like 3 stages to the drama. It's like, how are we going to make this cake?
Right.
They make the cake.
They make the cake.
Well, okay, then how are we going to make this cake in time? They make the cake in time. It's too big. How are we going to get it through the door? They get it through the door. They get it to the event. It's happy. That's every episode of Cake Boss.
Wow, that's 3-act structure right there. An episode of Cake Boss. I've been missing out. So DW is very heartbroken that her dad can't take her out, so he kind of volunteers Arthur to do it for him, just really loads it off.
Voluntold.
Yeah, just like... He's just like, "But Dad, we have to practice." He's like, "Thanks," and then just walks away and like, "Well, it's your problem." So Arthur gets all of his friends on it to help out, which they kind of disagree on biking etiquette, like what's most important. Like one says stopping, one says pedaling, one says steering. Francine says going really fast. They even disagree how to put a helmet on, which of course is number one. It's like they're all putting it on wrong, and then eventually they all have to split for lunch.
Well, the brain like gives this super detailed description of like the act of bike riding. I don't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah, it's just like it's composed of this, this, and this, and it's just like I just want to ride it, not build one.
That's what DW says.
That was a great one. So then Arthur decides to teach her before she goes out on her bike, which, by the way, she looks way too small for that bike. I don't know how she's getting to those pedals.
Yeah, they got to adjust that seat.
Yeah. So Arthur's teaching her the signs, which this is how I learned what biking signs are.
So here's my confession,
Yes.
and maybe I just did not process this information as a kid because I've definitely seen this episode before. But for as much as I've ridden my bike, which was a lot, I was, especially before I got my driver's license, and even in my childhood, I rode my bikes probably every day.
Yes.
I never learned my hand signs. So looking back now with the value of hindsight, I know that drivers on the road must have hated me. They didn't know what I was going to do next. Am I going to turn right? Am I going to turn left? It's a mystery.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I've seen a lot of people on bikes out there in the wild who do not use. Pretty much the only people I see using bike signals are professional bikers who ride for exercise all the time.
Yeah, or adults who they use their bike to get to work every day. Those people usually use hand signs.
And then when they do it, I'm just like, well, I don't know what that means. It was only seeing this episode again. I was like, right turn is up, left turn is out, and then slow down stop is I think slow down and stop was the only one I remembered for just putting the arm down.
Now, do you remember when you took your driver's license? Those are actually the same signs you do if you have a faulty turn signal. You're expected to do the bike signs out the window of your car.
Right. Oh, okay.
I had to have those memorized for when I took my driver's test.
Yeah, so I'm just doing them right now, audio podcast. But yeah, that's how Arthur will help me remember my turning signals. DW makes a funny face on the bike and says, "What's this mean?" And then all of a sudden,
this is one of my all-time favorite Arthur non sequiturs. I didn't remember this episode exactly, but this one scene is etched into my brain.
It's pretty special. Mr. Sipple, their next door neighbor, comes running out of his house in a towel and gives DW a cabbage, and he says, "Where I come from, making a funny face on a bike means bring me a cabbage fast," and then immediately runs back because he left the tub running.
Yeah, I left the tub running. There's a lot of questions here, but I don't want to focus too much on it, but it's how did he see them from his house?
Yeah.
Where does he come from?
What culture is it that somebody would need a cabbage immediately? Not just in your own time? I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and it's so off the wall.
It's really funny, though.
Even more so than most off the wall Arthur gags can be. This is definitely up there. It's one of the most offbeat Arthur silly one-off gags, as you said. But well, it's certainly there. So they go out for a ride. DW has her first crash, unfortunately. And she crashes, she goes head over a couple garbage cans. Funny enough, I find that she cried a little less than when her dad said he couldn't take her out. Like when her dad said he couldn't take her out, that was like actual tears. This one, she just kind of like, she does cry, but like not like tears. She's just kind of whining a little bit.
She's more hurt. I think when she's upset earlier, DW's got a flavor for the theatrics. So this
that's true.
This is just raw emotion.
That's true. So, and then we get a little montage of her, slowly getting better. And of note, she is on training wheels right now. So it's her and Arthur riding around. They ride past Tibble's place, and the Tibbles make fun of her doofy training wheels.
Yet they're the ones wearing bike helmets that look like cowboy hats.
If they're even bike helmets,
are not only ridiculous looking but impractical for safety. The visor on those would bounce all around if you fell over.
Might not even be helmets. Actually,
I think they are helmets because they got two holes in the top, like a bike helmet.
All right, well then
it's just crazy.
Well, then that's dumb. They're dumb. And then at dinner that night, DW once again sucking up to her dad. This broccoli is so good. And then she's like, what do you want now, DW? And, she's like, Arthur, tell him how good I did. And Arthur's like, yeah, she did good. And DW's like, good? I was great. And so this is her way of begging to take the training wheels off, which I wouldn't think you'd have to beg to do, but all the same, she did that. This is a great little scene here, like my type of Arthur humor, where just she's in the garage, they take off the training wheels, she's standing up on the bike, she goes, I've never felt so free.
Without moving, by the way.
No, she's kind of like jostling around a little bit.
She's in one spot, like she's not going forward. And she goes, I've never felt so free.
And then stiffens up and then immediately tips over. And then everybody kind of like closes their eyes. I thought that was really funny. Especially that line read. It was excellent. So, of course, the first couple of times she fails hilariously, like she falls into a garbage can or whatever.
Yeah, this is a real, like, Thrasher Hall of Meat montage of just DW bailing and wiping out over and over and over.
So, so by this point, she is like covered head to toe in bandages, and it's just like Dad's like, well, I can put the training wheels back on, and you can ride in the Bike-a-thon next year, whatever it is. And she's like, no, I will do this. And what follows, I think, really is, well, it's easy to say like this is the best part of the episode, but honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of Arthur so far, and it's so simple. Like when I really think about it, it really is. And all it is, it's a montage of DW in the garage, in the driveway, and she's got like she's standing on a box, and then she'll go forward, and then she'll fall down. She's just really trying to get the feel of the two-wheeler. And, Pal and Kate are watching her and kind of doing like the ooh face, like when she falls over. But she does it several times. Like there's one especially brutal one where she tries to turn and then careens into a picket fence and like gets slammed into there.
Yeah. My name's DW. Welcome to Jackass. Because I think she actually does an exact Jackass bail, the one where she goes right into a bush. That reminded me of, I think it's either Jackass 1 or 2, where they have the bike with the really big front wheel and the really small back wheel.
Okay.
And he just drives it directly into a bush on purpose and falls over.
And then, like, she's practicing in the rain. Like, you can, from the beauty of montage, you can tell that DW's been at this for a while.
Magic of editing.
Yeah. And then finally, DW is kind of in a bit of a different outfit, her biking alternate attire. And she says, I don't care if I'm 21 and I'm one giant scab, I'm going to learn to do this. And which is finally when she does, when she doesn't need training wheels, and she finally gets it. And really, I thought that was pretty great.
Hey,
I thought it worked really hard. I thought it worked really well. And I thought it was inspiring, to be honest with you, because it really is. It's such a simple lesson that you could hear every day, and it doesn't really click with you until you do something like that. It's just like you have to kind of keep failing over and over again before you get really good at something.
Not to get too ahead of ourselves with sort of our overall thoughts on the episodes, but I'll say both these episodes had really simple messages. Like, it was kind of back to basics with the morals, and I think that works to their advantage. Specifically with this one, it's like hard work pays off. If you want to excel at something, you're going to have to work hard on it, and that can be hard sometimes, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. And then so And so she's riding very well. She rides past the Tibble twins and gives them a surprise that she's no longer on training wheels, and they get theirs of like Tommy, or I think it is Tommy, like trips over a rock and goes like flying, takes like a big header, and like Timmy drives into a bush. Again,
a lot of bails in this episode.
And so finally the episode ends at the Bike-a-thon with Mr. Haney and his workout attire waving the flag. And so DW is riding with Mom and Dad. Dad has the tandem bike with Kate in the back seat. Mom actually has alternate racing attire. Like she has her like yellow shirt and black track shorts.
Her Livestrong gear.
Yeah. It's yellow and black. So there you go. I thought that was just kind of interesting that she got the alternate attire, but Dad didn't. He was still in his like catering blues.
Maybe Arthur's dad doesn't strike me as the most athletic dude. I think that might be more Arthur's mom's space.
I see. So, and then, DW catches somebody driving a car, and she says, Mom, Dad, how old do I have to be to drive a car? And then it starts all, I was like, oh boy, here we go again.
She says, it doesn't even have to be a big car. Like, that makes a difference at what age you can drive.
Just a little convertible. And I'm like, well, we're going to have to break her heart with this one. And now a word from us kids. Did you see this one?
Yeah, I did. Really interesting word from us kids. Usually the word from us kids has to do with something very specific in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
And this one sort of plays into the whole athletic theme of both episodes, and it plays into the moral of to get good at something, you have to try and fail to really get good at it. But it takes it from a completely different angle, which we look at these kids who are figure skating.
It's outside of the school setting, and these mostly girls. There's like a boy or two I think that I saw, but they mainly interview girls who are learning to figure skate. And it's kind of the same thing. Like they're in a way they are responding to the DW episode of just there will be a lot of times where you fall down. It's like it shows them falling down, but then you learn all this cool stuff, and it's like them doing all these really cool like spins and flips and stuff.
I've been watching Yuri on Ice lately, the figure skating anime.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much
that opening theme. It's pretty good.
This whole thing's pretty good. But
so I hear, yeah.
Everything I know about figure skating, I basically know from that. And so when they were listing off terms,
yes,
they were like, oh, these are all the different figure skating terms. And I think the joke of the editors was like, oh, look at all these crazy things these kids are saying. But I was like, oh, these are all like super real and like very impressive. Like because they talk about actual figure skating in Yuri on Ice all the time.
Yeah.
And also figure skating is one of those things to me where it's like, it doesn't matter what level you are at it, it always looks impressive to me.
Absolutely.
Like seeing these little kids pulling these things off, and even when they fall down, I'm like, man, this is crazy. It's one of those things that no matter how hard I try, I'll probably never be able to do.
No.
So it was really interesting and educational to watch.
I can barely skate full stop, so definitely not for me. But yeah, like axles and sow cows and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I know that, but I'm sure there are other stuff that they were saying. I'm like, whoosh, don't know. I got
triple sow cow.
Yeah, I got to announce recently for like a young girls figure skating tournament, and that was really cool seeing what these younger girls could do on the ice, even when they would fall down or like mess up. It's just like the fact that you're on the ice is like you're doing way better than me, and the fact that they train so hard at it. So I thought that was really cool. It doesn't go as in depth into the message as a lot of these other segments do, but I thought it was I enjoyed it. And now to our second episode. It's Arthur Makes the Team, as we start off at Arthur's first Little League game. He's got some high expectations for himself.
We finally moved on from, like, child organized leagues.
Yes.
And now we're getting into something a little bit more substantial.
Structured.
Yeah.
So this is a school independent or whatever little league. And Arthur has like a fantasy that he'll be the star, like he'll hit a home run and, almost hit an airplane or whatever, be the star of the team. And then has a really hilarious catch misfire of he's just like, he's so high on himself for a second. He kind of like takes his hat off and opens himself up to the ball, like both of his arms out in like a shrugging position, just like, give it to me, baby. And then it just drops at his feet, and he's just like, never mind.
Funniest part about that whole thing to me was the audio of like the mob.
Yes.
You hear like, it doesn't sound like a bunch of kids are mad at Arthur. It
like,
sounds like a protest or something when he misses that ball.
Like it's like he's a real MLB. So Buster and Arthur are getting ready for Little League, I guess, but it seems to me that they haven't played baseball before because Buster says, "Do you think you'll be good at baseball?" And so Buster says, "See if you can catch the famous Buster Ball pitch," which is a whole bunch of chicanery, just bounce like the Rube Goldberg pitch. It's just bouncing off of various things. Okay, so earlier in DW Rides Again, you kind of said we'll hear "I don't know how to stop" a few times. So this Arthur Makes a Team is even worse for it because, so I counted, there is a specific sound clip of Arthur going, "I got it, I got it!
I got it, I got it! I got it, I got it! I got it, I got it! I got it, I got it! I got it, I got it!"
5 times, 5 separate times.
Now, is that more, I don't remember, is that more or less than the words Barth bags being uttered in that one episode?
It's less.
I feel like it was close, though.
They're
less, neck and neck.
No, you're right. It's less, but it's close. And the thing is that at least with Barf Bags, it was different people reading their lines. With this one, it is just we use the same take and we use the same 2 takes and peppered it 5 times throughout the show, and it gets real old when you're old enough to
maybe
notice it.
the guy got strep.
Could be. But like for whatever reason, it's very noticeable. I even noticed it when I was a kid of just like, oh, these sound the same. So they're looking at the sheet of who made the team. So this one kind of confused me because it seems that this is like none of them, I think, have any experience playing baseball because they said, "Do you think you'll be good at baseball?" And then I'm just wondering, who decides who gets to be on the team? Is it just like sign your name up and we will just put you on a team no matter what?
So at that level of like Little League, of course at a certain level you need to try out, but at that level, like, I think it's just regional based. So if you live in this district, you're on this team automatically. And then I think the coach will assess your abilities, and they might lay the kids down easy and be like, "We're not going to play Ricky as much as the other kids." But it's mostly like you apply, you're on, like house league.
Okay. I have no experience with Little League. I actually played organized soccer when I was younger.
Same here.
And I don't remember exactly how the teaming went. It just kind of they just signed me up every year, and sometimes people I knew would be on the team, like friends from school. Sometimes I would have like the same people summer to summer on different teams because like I think it would be with different organizations because like for a couple of years I was on like a Subway branded team. One year I was on like a St. Mary's feeder like little team.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't really know how that works.
I was just always on the Timbits.
Nice. I think I was on the Timbits maybe once or twice, but I know I was also on like Subway and the Huskies was my very first hockey team. So I don't know. I wonder if we would have been different ages.
The Huskies and their storied rivalry with the Dartmouth Whalers.
So everybody everybody gets on the same team, which I guess there was a danger of that not happening. Somebody is like, who wants to be pitcher? And everybody wants to be pitcher. Everybody's raising their hand. So I guess pitcher is the coveted position in baseball, or at least in this baseball league. And then I like this edit because it's Francine being strangely modest for a point. She's just like, well, anyway, it's up to the coach to decide who gets to play what position. And then it's like a screen wipe to, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Oliver Frensky.
No, it's great. It's really funny. And we get to dive into the fascinating moral dilemma of coaching your kids without being biased.
Which to be fair, I think Oliver Frensky does an awesome job. By the way, this is the first episode where we get a real good look at Oliver Frensky, and spoilers for what we're talking about, but I was not disappointed. So Oliver, he says hello to Francine, but he's also a very fair guy. He lets everyone try every position, and isn't playing favorites because kind of the first thing is testing people out for pitcher. Like Brain's really good at it. Buster sucks, and then Francine.
that Buster ball, world famous, but maybe it's more world infamous.
Yeah, it's like in Mario Tennis when they would describe different people's like.
Trick shot?
Serve shot, yeah. So he would be the shy guy, paratroopa, Tricky, whereas Brain would be like Bowser Power. And then, so Francine, his daughter, has a lot of strength. Like her throw is really good, but she's wildly inaccurate.
This is really funny because it maps kind of 1-to-1. You ever play Mario Baseball, Mario Superstar Baseball?
No.
Real good game.
Okay.
Ton of fun on the GameCube.
Okay.
But again, this is exactly what you're describing. And I guess real baseball to an extent is
Sure.
like that. That's all the statistics and right, just not as simplified.
But he's not playing favorites. So like Francine, there's still an aspect of pitching that she's not grasping. So, she's going to be doing something else. And it seems that Brain's going to be the pitcher there. But we kind of set that up as that's kind of something that Francine isn't excellent at. She's good at one part of it, but she's lousy at another part. So it kind of puts her down in the dumps. Then we kind of cut to Arthur. Everybody's kind of in the outfield, and Arthur with a couple of mishaps. He's still trying to find where he belongs in the team. So Arthur goes, I got it, and goes for like a Matrix side dive.
John Woo.
Yes, he like pressed the right mouse button to bullet time over to the ball, but he missed. And Oliver Frensky he's just like, and Arthur, that leap was pure ballet.
Which leads me to believe that Oliver Frensky might never have seen ballet.
Maybe no, but I thought it was a fun way to kind of rib him without being like, wow, you suck.
Yeah,
it's just like that it really complimenting him on his athleticism, even if it didn't really end up doing well. Like encouraging without encouraging the wrong thing.
Which Mr. Frensky keeps up for the entirety of the episode.
Yeah,
he's never like kind of browbeating the kids for being poor baseball players.
Which I think is, it's Little League, and they're only 8 years old, so like he has the exact right mindset of it. It's just like,
you'd be surprised though.
But that's what I'm saying is that there would be coaches who would take this way too seriously, and Mr. Frensky isn't. He's just being like, let's go have fun. We'll figure out what you're good at, and help you out along the way. And we're just here to have fun. Francine kind of walks by Arthur after he does this leap, and she kind of like chuckles under her breath, and Arthur gives this amazing side eye. Like, it's so good. Like, check our social media in the next couple of days. I will definitely put a screen cap of it up there. It's so funny. Like, I had to rewind that at least once. Then Arthur like catches a pass and then throws both the ball and the glove to Binky, to which Oliver Frensky is just like, very, very impressive, Arthur. Very creative.
I wonder if that's legal in baseball. There's so many weird rules in baseball. I wonder if that's been covered. It must have been.
Yeah, maybe. And then Francine catches it and underhands it like a couple blocks over to who else but Mr. Haney's backyard.
Oh, I loved this.
So Mr. Haney pouring himself a glass of lemonade out of a pitcher, and then all of a sudden the ball just explodes into the pitcher.
My new favorite running Arthur joke is Mr. Haney's weekend being ruined. This is the second time in the row where Mr. Haney, he's in his athletic gear. He goes outside his house. It's a beautiful day. And then, boom, his tall glass of lemonade destroyed.
Right.
Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is.
And so at this point where everything is kind of low stakes, everybody kind of wants to be the star of the team. So that's why like pitcher was heavily coveted. Like everybody kind of wants to get their shine, and because they're kids, they all want to be the best.
Well, it's like in soccer. If you've ever watched little kids soccer, it's kind of terrible because everybody goes for the ball at all times. Yep. Nobody ever sets up any passing opportunities.
Which is the exact way I play Rocket League. No, you're right. That's exactly how it used to be. Or, when you're watching Timbits hockey or like Little League hockey in the halftime of a hockey game. And
it's kind of morbid, but I love little kids hockey.
Oh, sure, it's great fun.
Because sometimes the referee will just blow the whistle and just a bunch of kids will just fall over. This is so terrible. But like in regular hockey, like you at least at the most basic, you can skate very well.
Yeah.
But like because some of the kids just don't know how to stop properly, referee will blow the whistle and just, time to fall over. That's my way of stopping.
Crumple physics. So there's a little aside here where Buster's mom goes to talk to Francine's dad. And like we've said it before, but oh my God. Like season 1, Buster's mom is the worst.
But I thought this was refreshing because it was nice to see like Francine's dad react to Buster's mom the same way we do.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sure if the writers were in on it, but they're in on it.
No, of course they are.
Because Mr. Frensky's like, oh man, this lady.
Well, because she's such a caricature of, like, as you've said before, helicopter parenting. Because she's like, I wanted to talk to you about, it's like what about the ball. What if it hits him? Are those caps wool? I think he's allergic to wool. Call me every half mile kind of thing. It's just like, oh man. Which like I thought about it, and in later seasons, she does get a character that's not helicopter mom, and she's actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like I like Buster's mom, but like right now she is just a caricature, and it's annoying.
She's very Muffy-esque in that way.
Yeah.
We still haven't fleshed out Muffy.
Very, very one-dimensional. So Arthur kind of still not having success, like, dropping balls during games and stuff like that. Very, very unconfident in himself, if that's a word. And Francine is kind of, laughing at him, making fun of him. So Buster gives Arthur his, and I wrote this down, his never fail, always succeed, 100% guaranteed secret good luck charm, which is like a limp carrot he takes out of his pocket. It's like, it just kind of droops at the end. It must be really old. It's like lost all of its snap.
Well, it's a good luck charm. You just got to keep it around.
So, they use it in a game, and it is not at all successful. Arthur kind of accidentally lets in a home run, which, that's too bad. Goodness help him, he's trying.
He gives the carrot back.
And
then Buster takes a bite out of it.
Of course,
which, considering it's all floppy, pretty gross.
Yes, very. So after the game, Oliver Frensky takes the kids out for ice cream, which is, there you go, sign of a great coach right there. Like, he gets what's up. And then Francine says, don't give your ice cream to Arthur. He'll just drop it. Everybody laughs. And Buster comes up as Arthur's hype man and is just like, don't listen to her, Arthur. I'll hold your ice cream for you.
Hashtag squad goals, right?
And it is just kind of like I think it's originally played as Buster being a little dim, but it's also kind of sweet.
Get yourself a friend that'll hold your ice cream.
I thought that was really sweet, even though it was a little bit of a dim way to react to that.
It is funny, too, though, right? Because it's like Buster's trying to be nice, but I think he's like kind of agreeing with the rest of the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, Arthur might actually drop his ice cream.
Yeah. So... as much as we say Little League pretty low stakes, like they have one loss to their record and everyone is at each other's throats at the Sugar Bowl. Like they're just like, Francine is even just like, maybe next year I'll be put on a team with people who know how to play or like whatever. And like, dang, like really going for the jugular on that one. And everybody starts arguing, and in the chaos, Arthur kind of takes his leave and slumps back home because he feels like he lost him the game. So Arthur's at the dinner table with his family. DW kind of just gives him like a little insult to injury. It's just like his dad says baseball is 99% concentration,
which Arthur's dad, bit of a armchair quarterback, huh?
An armchair GM.
Exactly.
And DW's just like, now if he could only catch the ball. It's like, man, he doesn't need that. And
DW's the kind of character where it's like, I don't think she's trying to be malicious with that. She's just so literal that that's what comes out.
She did have kind of a devilish look in her eyes, just like, this will get him. Like, sees her opportunity and can't help but take it. And another funny edit here, as we had earlier, it's Arthur's dad saying, I'll bet you right now, Coach Frensky is talking about what a terrific team he's got. Wipe to Coach Frensky. You want me to take Arthur off the team? So there is a couple of really good ones in there. And so Francine is petitioning for Arthur to be taken off the team because his playing is so bad it's distracting to her. So she can't throw straight because she's thinking about what dumb thing he's going to do next, which very convenient excuse, Miss Frensky. So then Oliver comes up with a very good compromise. He gives Francine a promotion, which she thinks means to pitcher, but it's actually to co-manager.
Is it assistant coach?
Sorry, excuse me, assistant coach. And so she goes to see Arthur, who's in his room, kind of sulking. Her dad made her the assistant coach, and her first project is Arthur. So she's going to help him catch better.
And Francine really takes to the responsibility. Like, once it becomes a challenge for her, again, genius move on Mr. Frensky's part. Once Francine's faced with a challenge, she wants to overcome it. And so now she's super involved with trying to help Arthur.
Exactly. I was going to say another great coaching move is to get your experienced players to help the novices. And like you said, that's a great way of putting it. Frame it in the form of a challenge, which, coaching Arthur would be a bit of a challenge. Well, I mean, he probably is the weakest player of the team as far as we've been, told visually. So they have a kind of an outdoor session where she gives him a few tips to help him catch the ball. He does a couple of times, and then Arthur actually gives her a bit of advice back in helping her to throw straight. And then when she does, as you can see, she throws it right at Arthur's glove so hard that it hurts his arm.
The music, did you notice the music during this training sesh? Now, I'm not sure if this is music they've used before. I assume it is, but this is the first time I've noticed it. And it's this kind of this jazz piano instrumental.
Yeah.
It sounds almost like the Wii Shop music or something, or the Wii Shop music mixed with the band Bad Bad Not Good, where it's this kind of jazz jam band but very piano based. I thought it was really cool.
No, it's a very nice arrangement. I know that they used it again. It's their kind of just it's a bit more of a positive piece of background.
Kind of lighthearted action going on.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like it. That's thank you for reminding me of that. So afterwards, they're kind of having a glass of water, and Francine is just like, hey, if I'm gonna be making fun of you or anybody else anytime soon, please let me know if I'm going too far. And then they have this kind of Arthur and Francine have this weird dynamic where, Arthur kind of lets her off easy, even though she was making fun of him and he was holding it against her. And then,
I mean, didn't he kind of have some jabs against her as well?
It was more that Buster was kind of
Buster and his big mouth. Huh?
Yeah, he was either kind of snickering at her or he did a fake interview of it's excuse me, Miss Frensky, are you going to be able to not throw the ball over the fence this time? And he's really the one making fun of her, and Arthur is just kind of his crony in this endeavor. And then they have this thing where Francine is just warn me if I'm going to be making fun of anybody. But you do kind of suck. And Arthur's just kind of oh yeah? And then they both start laughing. And okay, that's a weird way to lampshade Francine kind of making fun of people. Just being a part of her charm, I guess.
Well, you got to chirp each other every once in a while.
Yeah, well, sometimes she takes it a bit too far. But get into that in a second. So then they go to the playoff. They're in a playoff game against what looks to be.
I love this opening shot.
Mighty Mountain.
So it's this playoff game. We see the dugout of the kids, and it's a Dutch angle. So the camera is totally stilted, and these horrified faces. These kids look petrified that they're in this playoff game.
Yeah.
It's listen, guys, it's baseball. The worst that's gonna happen is you'll lose. You don't need to look this terrified.
Right, and Coach Frensky even says, I want you to play just like any other game.
He says if they win...
Wait. This is an excellent line here. So he says, if you win, I'll take you out for ice cream. If you lose, and then Binky cuts in with, you'll drive us to the outskirts of town and leave us there? And he says, no, if you lose, I still take you out for ice cream. And Binky adds, I'll never get to see the outskirts of town.
It's really good.
It was.
On multiple levels, too. The fact that the fact that he'd take them out for ice cream either way, and the fact that Binky's like excited to see the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
But also that speech from Mr. Frensky sort of summarizes the moral of the whole episode. There's a couple things. One, you should be nice to your friends and help them out. But I also think that the moral of this episode is like when you're playing a game like this or organized sports, especially at this level, the goal should be to have fun. And I think Mr. Frensky, especially in his coaching style, sort of teaches that with, if you guys lose, we're still going to get ice cream. The point wasn't for you guys to win. The point was for you guys to have a good time.
Exactly. That's the first goal, is having fun. So they get into the game, and then it seems to be against Mighty Mountain if their jerseys look kind of familiar. So one of them hits a pretty big one to the outfield, and it's going to Arthur, and Buster's like, I can't watch, and then Arthur does manage to catch it. It's like his big catch, and he manages to throw it to Francine, and then Buster's like, I can't watch, because of course she has to make a straight throw to Binky, who is the catcher, and she does. So they both kind of overcome both of their humps, and so it's a nice little moment there of them overcoming, and Buster faints because he was so on edge. But then eventually they end up losing the playoff game because Buster goes to bat, and his weakness, it appears to be, is batting. So he doesn't make it, and he gets struck out. He hits a pop fly, and it's like easily caught, and they win. Mighty Mountain wins.
Which I actually really did like that touch of having the kids lose in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the easy way out would be have them win. And so it's like, not only did they learn their lesson, they won the game too.
Yeah.
And I think this doubles down on the moral being like, it doesn't matter if you win or lose.
Yeah, exactly. And which they've incorporated very well, as you mentioned before. So, Arthur kind of, consoles him, just like, you gave it your best shot. And then Francine's about to lay into him, but Arthur kind of has to be like, And then she's like, you couldn't have done a better try. And it really is a case of like getting to know Francine a little better, of just like, maybe when she's like chirping someone, as we've said, like she kind of doesn't know when too much is too much, because maybe she's got a thicker skin, or maybe she doesn't. I'm not sure. But like she needs to have somebody to tell her to be like, okay, rein it in. This isn't fun, what you're saying. Which she's a kid. She can kind of afford to not know that. She's still learning that line.
For sure.
So I thought that was a good illustration of that. So finally the episode ends, and Arthur and Francine kind of, make up, and, Arthur has, some kind of cheesy line about like teamwork with like a wink.
Yeah, he really hits it home.
But the last line, I think, saves it from being a little schmaltzy, because she's like, but basketball season is coming up, and if you stink at that, I get to tease you all over again.
Which we've already seen DW school Arthur at basketball. But
we've also seen him score. So in the very first episode. Okay, so 2 sports-related episodes. The theme of this was as tied together as last week's was in terms of illness. So what did you think of DW Rides Again?
I like we said before, I think this episode really benefits from its simplicity. Sometimes they get a little bit out there, or they get a little complicated, long-winded. A lot of criticisms we've had on episodes we don't like is that the ending comes out of nowhere, or it doesn't really follow the 3-act structure, so you can't get invested. But this episode's super simple, and I think it benefits from that. DW wants to learn to ride a bicycle, but she kind of dives into it, and then she gets disgruntled, and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And then through hardship and hard work, she learns, if you really work hard at something and don't give up, you reap the benefits. Mm-hmm. So, solid moral, funny episode with some good jokes and stuff. I really enjoyed it. I think I liked it maybe just a little less than you, and not for any really fault of its own. I think you can kind of say that about both of the episodes. By that, for sure.
But by that I mean they're both very simple morals told well. The basics with brilliance, as our radio teacher would say. DW Rides Again, I thought was good. It just kind of didn't personally connect with me as much because it doesn't have to, because it's really about trying again and again at a certain task. But when it comes to biking, like, I don't have much experience with that, so it was a bit harder for me to put myself in the role. But all the same, I thought that it was a very solid episode, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I just didn't connect with it as much as other episodes in the season, like Arthur Makes the Team. Excuse me, before we move on to the second episode. Like I said, when talking about DW Rides Again, the moment, the sequence of her trying and failing, I think is one of my favorite moments in the first season of Arthur so far. Because I think it's, again, so simple, but to see it illustrated on a character that you understand their character, you understand who they are, you care about them.
We've seen her give up on things before.
Yes.
Like, not that long ago, DW was throwing away hobbies left and right.
And she's 4 years old, so you wouldn't bat an eye if she was like, this is too hard, I quit. But no, she doesn't, and it really means a lot. You understand how much it means to her to ride a bike, and when she finally does, you feel really good about it. And so I think that moment was a big triumph in this episode. The episode overall, good, not great, solid is what I would say. Arthur Makes a Team, I had a little bit more of a personal connection to because it reminded me of my own time playing team sports, which isn't necessarily a positive memory, but at least it was something I was able to relate to. And Arthur kind of goes through the same journey as DW, except I really liked the emphasis, the very overt theme of teamwork in this episode, and I thought it was presented in a really great way. Oliver Frensky, an awesome character. I thought that he did kind of all the right things. It's really a good model as an adult of just if you were ever put in this coach role, this is what you should really strive to do. And even as an adult, you can learn from the thing of if you're really good at something, you can help people who aren't as good with it. And that, in fact, should be something you should strive to do, and I thought that was great character growth for Francine, is that she kind of becomes the assistant coach, and you can see how, even though there's a lot of negatives you can say about her, when you frame it when you post something to her in her language, then she can really excel. So, I'm so glad that you said, her dad frames it like a challenge, and she steps up to it, and I really came to understand her a lot better in this episode, and I thought that it was great to see Arthur triumph. It was great to see Francine kind of grow a little bit. I thought it was funny. I thought this was a really, really good episode.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I like both of these episodes, and I also like this whole thing now that we're pairing two episodes that have the same theme, sort of.
Yeah.
But not exactly the same. There was that episode where they went to their grandpa's, and then there was that other episode where they went on a vacation, and I was like, oh, these are kind of too similar. But the sickness one, two very kind of different episodes, but both about sickness.
Yes.
This one, two kind of completely different episodes, but both about sports. And I even liked, this is probably my favorite word from us kids thus far. I thought that it was a really cool word from us kids. I got to see something I don't normally see in child's figure skating.
I thought it broke formula in a really cool way. Also, in a word for us kids, I thought the music in parts was very 90s cool.
I agree.
It reminded me of, oh my gosh. I'm going to get this wrong. Is it Broken Banshee, the vaporwave artist? Vaporwave artist?
I'm not familiar. I couldn't tell you.
Oh,
not a big vaporwave.
If you know what it is, please email in.
Macintosh Plus?
No,
it's
but
the only vaporwave artist I know.
Yeah, but I'm sure as soon as I go home, I'll know what I'm talking about. But it's two B's. Anyway, just very, very 90s era, composed on a keyboard.
Muzak almost.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really fun too. But yeah, you're right. I thought it was a great way to break the mold that we've set for that segment very early on.
Break the mold, but I also think I like how both of these episodes are really simple. A lot of times we'll have one with kind of an iffy moral, or I think a few episodes ago we had one with no moral to the story. It was just kind of a slice of life. That might have been the last episode we watched.
Sick as a dog.
I think this one I just found I found both these episodes really refreshing in their simplicity. I don't think this will work every week, but for this week it really worked for me.
For sure. There you have it. DW Rides Again and Arthur Makes a Team. Recommended from the both of us. Definitely worth your time. Thank you very much for joining us for Elwood City Limits. Now, before we get to next week's episode, what you can expect, let's run down the ways that you can get in touch with us. First off, I will put this first off because I'd really like to receive some emails from you responding to the episode. If you're one of our new Twitter followers, if you just found us on Facebook or Tumblr, I encourage you to email us, elwoodcitylimits@gmail.com. We would love to hear your support for the episode, if you have any constructive criticism, if you have anything else to say regarding anything we've talked about in any episode at all.
Yeah, anything. Are you a cheesehead? Tell us all about that.
ElwoodCityLimits@gmail.com. On social media, you can find us on Facebook. We would really appreciate a like. Elwood City Limits on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Elwood City Limits. Go to our Twitter, which has been seen a couple of new followers recently, at ECL Podcast.
Looking forward to that Arthur side eye.
Yeah, yes, I can't wait to screen cap that one. And ElwoodCityLimits.tumblr.com. On all of those fronts, we are putting up Arthur screen caps and updates about the new episodes. So no matter what service you ascribe to, we are here for you. Speaking of services, SoundCloud is where you can listen online. We are active there. SoundCloud.com/Elwood City Limits. And if you would like to share us via link to someone you know, you can do it via SoundCloud. Or if you want to subscribe to us, you can. We are available on iTunes. You can subscribe to us there. If you like this show, please give us a star rating and a review. We would really love your review of the show. Helps us get noticed, and of course, we want to keep growing as much as we can. Okay, so next week's episode, it actually does have a theme of a character, and the character is Grandma Thora.
Really?
Yes, it is Arthur's almost boring day and the half-baked sale.
I have no recollection of either of these, so it's very exciting.
I definitely do, so we're going to be getting a much better look at the inside scoop of Grandma Thora. Which is, as I recall, it's a good old time. At least we'll see.
Good old time, am I right?
So for all of that, it's time for us to say goodbye here at Elwood City Limits. What do you got, Lucas?
Oh man, I wasn't looking. Just give me a second. Where's the ball? Where's the ball?
For Lucas Mancini, I am Will Young. Thanks for listening to Elwood City Limits, and we'll see you next time. Where the ball? Where the ball?
Francine sort of channeling her inner Trump.